You blocked them. You stopped replying. You got out. So why does part of you still wait for the chaos to come back? Why does your body still flinch at the quiet? Why does peace feel flat instead of relieving? Because leaving a toxic person is not just leaving a person, it is leaving a pattern your body learned, a pattern your days got organized around, a pattern of tension, relief, confusion, repair, distance, hope, and panic. You know they hurt you. You know staying was damaging you. And still, after you leave, something in you feels like it has been cut off from oxygen. This is not proof that the relationship was healthy. This is not proof that they were your person. This is what happens when chaos stops feeling dangerous and starts feeling normal, because familiar things keep their grip even when they are hurting you. After leaving, you do things you feel ashamed of. You check their page even though you told yourself you would stop. You replay the last conversation looking for something you missed. You imagine one more message that might finally make it click. You type it out, delete it, type it again, and then put the phone face down like that counts as strength. You miss them most when life gets quiet and there is nothing loud enough to fill the space they left. And the worst part is you know all of this. You know what they did. You remember the nights. You remember the way your stomach would drop when you heard their tone shift. And somehow, that is not enough to stop the missing, not because the love was pure, because the cycle was unfinished. You were never just attached to them. You were attached to what the cycle kept promising, the apology that would finally mean something, the calm that would finally last, the version of them who would finally become safe, the version of you who would finally stop hurting if you just held on long enough. But the loss people talk about is only the surface. There is a deeper one underneath it. The real loss is not just the person, it is the identity you built around surviving them. When someone is unpredictable long enough, your mind and body start reorganizing around management. You become hyper-aware. You scan tone before you scan words. You rehearse messages 3 times before sending them. You watch their face when they walk through the door to know what kind of night it is going to be. You try to fix things before they break. You start measuring your own worth by whether you can restore calm in a room that was never yours to stabilize. That is not love. That is a role you took on because staying felt safer than the unknown. So when you leave, the pain is not only I miss them, it is also who am I when there is nobody to monitor? Who am I when there is nobody to calm down? Who am I when my entire system of functioning was built around keeping someone else from falling apart? You do not just lose the relationship, you lose the role. And when the role disappears, you do not feel free. You feel like a machine that got unplugged and does not know what it was built to do without that one task. You wake up and there is no crisis to manage. You come home and nobody needs to be read. Your phone is still, and instead of relief, you feel a pull in your chest like something is missing. You keep reaching for a problem that is no longer there, and the absence of that problem does not feel like peace. It feels like a gap in the floor you keep stepping into. That is why leaving can feel like emptiness instead of freedom, because freedom is not always what comes first. Sometimes what comes first is disorientation. The chaos is gone. But the version of you that was built inside that chaos does not know where to stand anymore. That is why calm feels unfamiliar. That is why your brain keeps trying to go back to the place that was hurting you. Not because it was good, because it was known. Your body does not stay loyal to what is good. It stays loyal to what is familiar. And right now, peace is the unfamiliar one. So you start doubting yourself. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe it was not that bad. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe if I missed them this much, I made a mistake. And then someone asks how you are doing, and you say better, even though you Googled their name last night at 1 a.m. You say you are healing, even though you still check if they watched your story. You say you are over it, even though your body still tenses at a notification sound that is not even theirs. No, you are not weak for that. You are feeling the collapse of a system your body adapted to. You adapted to unpredictability. You adapted to waiting for warmth that came on someone else's schedule. You adapted to emotional whiplash so many times that stillness started feeling like something was wrong. You adapted to needing tiny doses of relief like proof that the damage would finally stop. And adaptation is not the same thing as love. That is why peace can feel empty after chaos. Your body got used to intensity, not because intensity was good for you, because intensity was the only signal your nervous system had that something important was happening. Quiet meant waiting. Quiet meant something bad was building. Quiet meant the next rupture was on its way. So now when quiet actually means safety, your body does not believe it. It keeps scanning. It keeps bracing. It keeps waiting for the drop. And that is exhausting because you left the relationship, but you have not left the pattern yet. So when you grieve after leaving toxic people, you are usually grieving several things at once. The person, yes, but also the fantasy, the unfinished promise. The version of the story where all your waiting finally paid off, and the version of yourself who thought love could be earned by enduring enough pain. It is not one loss, it is layered loss. You lost the person. You lost the hope that kept you going on the worst nights. You lost the role that gave your days a shape, even when that shape was painful. You lost the future you kept editing in your head, the one where everything you went through would eventually make sense because it led somewhere good. And then you have to sit with the realization that the story was never heading where you kept telling yourself it was, that none of it was ever becoming what you were waiting for. That is brutal, and nobody prepares you for that part. But the loss is not evidence that you left the wrong thing. It is evidence that you were attached to something your body had to survive, and survival bonds always feel deeper than they should. People confuse relief with emptiness. They confuse withdrawal with love. They confuse being destabilized with having found the one. When the system finally stops, the body does not say, "Thank God." Not at first. At first, it says, "Where did the pattern go?" And if you do not understand that, you will call the ache love. You will call the disorientation destiny. You will call the missing proof that you belonged there. But you did not. You were trained there, and that changes everything. Because once you see that, your grief starts making sense. You are not grieving a healthy bond you should have saved. You are grieving the collapse of a painful system that taught you to confuse relief with connection. The hardest part of leaving toxic people is not missing them. It is realizing how much of you was built around surviving them. What was the hardest part of leaving for you? Losing them or losing who you became around them?